Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is in theaters now, and we're breaking down all 5 end credit scenes. I'm Sasha Pearl Raver, and this is Screen Junkies News. In 2008, Nick Fury showed up uninvited at Tony Stark's house and said, "You ever heard of the Avengers Initiative?" And boom, just like that, end credit scenes hit a whole new level. Since then, we've come to expect at least one. But in Guardians of the Galaxy, we get 5, y'all. 5.
Great.
So, if you haven't seen, if you have not seen this film, this is your spoiler alert. You do not want to watch this video. But if you have seen the film, if you have seen all 5 post-credit scenes, stay with us because we are about to break them all down. All right, ready? You good? Last chance. Okay, fine. Number 1, Kraglin whistles the arrow into Drax's neck. So Kraglin's sort of practicing with the arrow, and it ends up darting
to Drax's
which is
neck.
Pretty fantastic.
Well, like that sort of like slapstick is always funny too, because like Batista really sold. He's like, like it hurts so much.
It probably doesn't feel great. I mean, he did just get an arrow.
But does this mean that Kraglin is now the new Yondu?
You know, I actually asked Sean Gunn that very question, and he was not able to give me an answer just yet. But I personally hope, I personally hope that he is, because I know Kraglin looked pretty good with that fin on. If I have to say.
Totally.
Cool.
I love that, and also that is Sean Gunn. Sean Gunn, who is James Gunn's brother, who is so great. And rarely in Hollywood does nepotism feel like it works out as well as that. I love that character. I love that actor. I think it's fantastic, and I like seeing him wielding some arrow power.
And the screening that I went to last night, he was actually at it and spoke a little bit and had nothing but like, you know, this is a labor of love for my brother. Like I watched him this whole process. I was a part of this whole process, and he really loves these characters, and he loves the actors, and he loves the whole process. And Marvel, like, he had nothing but good to say about his brother, and it was sweet and heart. You know, I was like, oh, no wonder James Gunn loves family.
It's worth mentioning that, like, every time that I've talked with like the Guardians cast about working with Sean Gunn on set, they can't say enough about how much they love his performance as Rocket.
Sure, like, that's the thing. You have to remember, he doesn't just play Kraglin. He also is the motion capture of Rocket before Bradley Cooper comes in and does the voice.
And as you were saying, like before, it's just like it's not really nepotism, because what it is not many people can walk around on their knees at that particular eye level, and like that's a particular skill that Sean Gunn has, and like he does a crazy good job. And like from like everything everything I've heard from the castmates say that like he brings Rocket to life when they're on set, even as not a CGI
One of the best lines from the first Guardians movie was like when they all stood up vowing to, like, you know what, we all may die, but let's go do it. And then Rocket goes, and now we're all standing around like a bunch of idiots.
In a circle.
Jackasses. But that was improvised from Sean Gunn, and they decided to keep it because it was so Rocket. Yeah, it was perfectly in character.
Hopefully he's the new Yondu.
Yeah,
maybe.
That's definitely the hope.
TBD.
Fingers crossed.
The other massive post-credit scene that we see is Aisha announcing that she is creating Adam. Yep. That's a big one.
That's
get into it with us.
I mean, we've covered it in another video, but for the sake of this video also, Adam is Adam Warlock. So in the comics, Adam Warlock was initially created by a group of genetic scientists on Earth called the Enclave, and they created him with the purpose of creating a genetically perfect human being for a bit more nefarious purposes. And then he kind of, like, being genetically perfect, was like, screw you guys, no, I'm not going to be a nefarious. Aisha was actually created by the same scientist to be sort of like a Bride of Frankenstein, sort of a, here's your genetically perfect equal. So we
literally, it should be mentioned that Adam Warlock came to this world as him, and Aisha is also known as her. So
it was him and her, and then she went on to become Kismet and Paragon, and
a whole bunch of other names, random ass crap.
But Adam Warlock is a giant signifier for the future of the Marvel, certainly the cosmic universe, but whether he'll come to like Earth and participate in Infinity War and any of that stuff, the filmmakers are saying no, but like it's hard to see having that character exist and not coming over to do anything with Thanos, because he's one of the bigger, like Adam Warlock is one of the bigger heroes that's constantly fighting Thanos. Like, it's one of his main bad guys. So,
and I mean, like, and he has said that is specifically for Guardians 3, that's not really something for Avengers 4. And I like part of that I do wonder, and we talked about this a bit, is like the fact that like in the comics, Adam Warlock also has the Soul Stone embedded in his head, and obviously Vision within the Marvel Cinematic Universe has that with the Mind Stone. So actually, when I was going into Guardians 3, I didn't expect, or going into Guardians 2 rather, I didn't even expect Warlock to show up, because I figured like you're doing Aisha, you have Vision. Vision over here. Do you really need to do Warlock? They're doing Warlock.
They're doing
all
Warlock.
credit to them. So
and like there's a different race. It's the sovereign race or whatever. So it's not human, but like it still operates on the same principles of like genetic superiority and engineering and stuff like that. So
and you still have like the idea of like it sounds like his first mission is going to be going out against the Guardians of the Galaxy.
So he's still being created for nefarious means, and I really think he'll be like, so I'm supposed to go fight these guys, and I think probably what's going to happen in that movie, he'll take off to go fight them and be like, you guys are actually all very noble and doing noble things. I'm with you now. We are friends, and I am part of your team. Like I really hope that's what happens.
Absolutely. Then scene 3, we see a now teenage Groot playing video games in his room and being just a total little bastard. Just a little.
It's great. Yeah, his room is a disaster. He's too busy playing video games.
You
can totally smell the Groot funk. You really could.
You really can.
You really could.
Now, why is this such an important Easter egg?
Well, one thing that I learned from Kevin Feige, and well, I should say confirmed because it's kind of something that fans were able to put together.
But you still didn't learn it from him.
That's true, I did. Is that because Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is set just 2 months after the first Guardians of the Galaxy, that means that it's still set in the year 2014, which means that the events of Infinity War, aka the next time that we're going to see the Guardians, is going to be 4 years after the adventure in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. So what's special about Teenage Groot is that we're kind of seeing a middle ground, like where the middle area of where he's not quite baby Groot. He's probably going to be an adult Groot in Infinity War. So we just kind of get to a preview of that middle section of his life.
Oh man, I want more Teenage Groot.
Well, I mean, I guess it's not entirely off the table that Guardians 3 could be set between Guardians 2 and Infinity War.
Oh, I just want to hear Groot voice cracks so bad.
Vin Diesel's performance in that scene alone, though, is fantastic.
Yeah.
So.
I love like his intonations. He's like, Groot. Groot. He's such a little, just
such
little
a jerk. He's so teenage. He's such a teenage
He like
boy.
played teenage very well, and like again, like you said, Vin Diesel, like credit is due to him for like doing that, you know. So
absolutely. Then we have a scene with Stan Lee and the Watchers. Now, what does this mean, Matt Key?
Well, it means that Stan Lee is working with the Watchers in some capacity. Maybe he's like a secret agent of theirs on Earth. We heard confirmation from Kevin Feige that Stan Lee is actually playing the exact same character, the same dude, the same old man in every single cameo he's ever done. So this dude just has like the most amazing weird life in New York City and abroad, and he watches on behalf of the Watchers.
What's
apparently.
he going to be doing in Wakanda?
Ooh, fair question.
It's a great question. I don't know. and you know what? He may not be in Wakanda because Black Panther takes place all over the world. He may end up in South Korea.
Absolutely. And I still think that he's going to show up in Hulk Stadium and he's going to be like the rodeo clown who's cleaning up after the Hulks.
Yeah, I really want to see him like, oh, Thor, I'm so sorry that your muscles, like, giving him like, let me warm your muscles up.
Free match.
Totally.
Yeah, totally.
Get him loose.
Pre-match gladiator masseuse.
It is nice. I mean, honestly, it's nice just that, like, because we've heard news that like Stan Lee's cameos have all been kind of banked for a few years in the future. James Gunn filled all of them on the set of Guardians 2. So yeah, I'm very appreciative of the fact that we'll have Stan Lee around on the big screen doing those cameos for a few more years. This is my favorite one ever. This is so rewarding.
Yeah.
Like I wrote up about Stan Lee playing the same character through all of his cameos, and like to have like confirmation of that is just wonderful.
Yeah.
So yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you, James Gunn and Kevin Feige and all the rest of you figured that out.
Yeah, so good. It's one of the best. It's one of those best cameos, certainly.
At the very end of the movie, there is also a series of cameos that really got me in the feels, but also sets up a huge part of the franchise moving forward.
Yep.
And that was the OG Guardians and sort of other Ravagers that we have not yet seen.
Sure.
So, Eric, walk us through it.
Well, essentially what it is a reference to the fact that Yondu Udonta, played by Michael Rooker in these movies, was originally part of the original Guardians of the Galaxy team introduced in 1969. And this included characters like Starhawk, who's played by Sylvester Stallone, Charlie 27, who's played by Ving Rhames, Letta, who's played by Michelle Yeoh. And essentially what it looks like is that this team, because the sad, depressing, awful, really depressed, just entirely miserable death of Yondu have kind of come back together as a result of this. And it definitely the table is set for them to kind of play as a team going into Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It's certainly they're going to have. So it kind of seems like we're going to have 2 Guardians of the Galaxy groups going around. They're probably not going to go by Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Probably not. Yeah. I know that like Martin X at one point and the 90s run like split off and formed the Galactic Guardians. Yeah. So they might decide like Guardians of the Galaxy is like such a mouthful. Like why do you Galactic Guardians? You guys are dumb.
Yeah.
Like then there'll be like 2 factions.
Wise older age and young upstarts.
But like I love like that like Yondu had that scene in the jail with Rocket where he's like, you guys remind me of our team was when we first started. Exactly. It was like, you guys were the original guy. And like that was so rewarding to me to be like, so the Ravagers and like all the main factions are actually run by the splintered remains of that initial group of Guardians. Like,
we're now just bringing the band back together.
Like so brilliant on James Gunn's part, and like such a great way to squeeze that into the world and pay homage to that original team, and then maybe even bring them back for the future, like which we know they're doing. So
exactly.
Like,
the fact that also you can't ignore the fact that they brought together this cast totally in secret. Like I mean, I don't know how you did that, but you did it. So good for you.
That's amazing. Never heard anything about it.
The only reason Stallone was known was like a year ago when they were filming. They were in London, I think, or something like that, and like they saw him get into a limo that had like the production name of Guardians, and they're like, is Stallone going to film Guardians? And it started this whole rumor, and then like a year later, like actually Stallone is in it. Like, but it took a year for them to even confirm that rumor was true.
Yeah, but like Michelle Yeoh, Ving Rhames, and I mean Michael Rosenbaum also like a few weeks ago revealed. But it's amazing that they were able to just, because that's the other thing about it. It's like I mean, we know this within this industry is the fact that like these secrets don't get kept. No, so the fact that they actually lasted until people
were able to do it,
actually see it on the big screen, it's amazing.
So I was sitting there in my seat just like sobbing my face off, so sad that Yondu had been killed off. I didn't cry at Moonlight. I didn't cry at Manchester by the Sea. I didn't cry. I haven't cried in a movie in forever, and Guardians brought me to my knees.
I was teary-eyed,
and that's because James Gunn is a damn genius, and whatever he plans for the future, I trust him implicitly. But we want to know, was there anything in those last credit sequences that we missed? Is there anything that you are particularly excited for as we move forward in the MCU? Let us know in the comments below. You can tweet us at SJ News. Make sure to like and subscribe. And of course, you can always click here for more Screen Junkies news. Be good.